Speaking of a human tsunami, Elon Musk went to the. I'm just trying transitions out. Give me some slack, all right? Give me some slack. Elon Musk went to the Pentagon. You were there. He did not get a briefing on the China war plan as we thought. But what was he doing there in the first place, and what happened?
So, as we understand it, there was a request from Musk to get some kind of briefing on China, and the Defense Department started to facilitate that. Mm-hmm. And then it came out, and overnight, from what we can tell, plans changed. And so by the time he arrived in the building, what went from meeting in the tank, which is one of the most secure rooms in the Pentagon, he headed right up to the Secretary's office. They met for 90 minutes. We were told by the president in his tweet that China wouldn't come out at all, even though the commander in charge of the U.S. military response to China was tasked to speak to Elon Musk, and that they talked about technology and innovation, and actually that he wasn't there to learn, but to teach the department about some of his skills was some of the talking points we heard from the Pentagon today. And so he spent about 90 minutes in the building. It caused quite a stir, but I can't tell you precisely what came out of it, other than it wasn't what was originally intended. Just
listen for 1 second to Trump talking about this, and here he seems unusually soft about the general approach. Just listen to Trump on this for a second.
I don't want to show that to anybody, but certainly you wouldn't show it to a businessman who is helping us so much. Elon has businesses in China, and he would be susceptible perhaps to that, but it was such a fake story.
Well, so in other words, Trump is saying that this would be outside the norms to show a businessman with interest in China the war plan. He calls it a fake story, but I mean, and this is a question about the challenge of reporting amid this maelstrom. We don't yet have a sense of what actually was trying to be accomplished by Elon Musk.
No, but the conflict leading up to it was revealing, because the president was irritated at the suggestion that he would open up the operational planning book to Elon Musk because there's a conflict of interest. But that's been the argument the whole time about having him in this position. And they came back.
I mean, and there's gambling in Casablanca. I mean, or whatever the expression is. I mean, that's not exactly.
But it was revelatory that he seemed to be frustrated by it, even though he set up the mechanisms that put it in place.
Right.
And went on to say he's here to look for cuts in the government.
Right.
If someone's making money through Tesla, through Chinese production, if they're could use the intel that the military has for SpaceX, should he be deciding what government agencies within the Pentagon should or should not stay open?
Right. Go ahead.
I had a different read on especially his meeting with the secretary. A week and a half ago, or whatever it was, 2 weeks ago, there was that blow up, right, with the secretaries Elon Musk and President Trump.
Marco Rubio was upset.
Exactly. People were upset because they felt like he was overstepping his bounds. He was controlling their departments. Donald Trump has tasked Elon Musk with going into the Department of Defense, right? And so you have Elon Musk going, meeting, walking out and laughing and giggling with Secretary Hegseth out of the building. That shows a chumminess. And so when Doge does what it ends up doing, that will tell the rest of us that maybe Hegseth and Elon are friends and they're fine with the fact that he's doing these kinds of things. So I also think there's like some PR happening behind the scenes of making sure that Elon is seen as going to the secretaries and not as going against them.
David, what do you think is going on here at the deepest level?
Anytime Trump draws a line on Musk's ability to get a briefing, to take actions, anytime the president says there may be a conflict of interest here, I mean, I think that's a good moment. We need more of that. I think, as Eugene said, what should be ahead in terms of making the government more efficient is a real, bringing the chainsaw to some of the wasteful spending at the Pentagon. Anybody who follows the Pentagon, a good reporter like Nancy, knows there is incredible waste. I mean, you're going after USAID, these little agencies, while there's this massive misuse of taxpayer money that doesn't make the country safer, that preserves legacy weapon systems that are increasingly outmoded, that has layers of bureaucracy that make it almost impossible to manage efficiently. So people do need to focus on that. If Musk is going to do that, I think that's a mission that I actually like to see.
Fold in the China piece, though, because Musk has been. Musk is economically dependent on China. He's been friendly to China. He's been unfriendly to Taiwan.
The idea that he would get a briefing on war plans for China is appalling. And I think in that little clip that you showed, you saw in Trump's response, his understanding, that's a no-go. Again, I think the idea that we're going to make this, overstuffed, often inefficient, technologically backward U.S. government more efficient, that's something that I think people would like to see. It's just the way he's dealt with a chainsaw approach to that has been crazy.
Right.
I think that's a great point, but does he need a China 101 briefing? Should a military commander be doing it? Is that for Doge, and does it give him a financial benefit as well? This is where the sort of conflict of interest emerges, I think.
Right. There are a lot of businessmen who would like to get a senior-most briefing on China, even if it's unclassified.
That's right.
Even if it's just this is our overall posture. But
and he has a security clearance, so they can answer his questions at a secret level. That's intelligence that's invaluable in some businesses.
well, I predict that we will be spending more time trying to interpret the role of Elon Musk in the federal government in the coming weeks. That's my big prediction for the evening. I'm sorry to say that that's all the time we have for now. I do want to thank our panelists for an excellent discussion. Thank you very much. And I want to thank our viewers for joining us.